Hi everyone, this is Nick and Ron, and I'm here for another edition of Ask Ron. Remember, if you want to submit any questions to us, you can submit them on our Facebook Messenger page, or you can submit them on the forum on the Gold Club. So Ron, are you ready to take some questions?
I am, but you guys listening should know that this is Nick behind the camera today. He's the one that created the Gold Club site and maintains it, so he's the brains of the outfit. So you're honored today that he's running the camera for you.
Well,
that's all you're getting. You get no pay or anything.
all right, well, we have a great team. It's definitely not all me. So,
All right.
okay, our first question comes from Paul and Arlene in Illinois.
Paul and Arlene, yep.
My son is a realtor, and we just signed him up as our acquisitionist. Will he need to disclose this in every/any conversations that he has?
Guys, I think he's going to need to disclose because he's actively involved with sellers and buyers, not just sending information. You need to check with your broker on this. Besides that, laws are different in every state, but I'm guessing he's going to say that he will have to disclose.
You have any recommendations on how they disclose, like how our realtors?
They would disclose it anyway. If they're running ads, they got to put in there that they're an agency or that they're licensed. If they're not running ads and they're getting sellers to them to come through any other way, I would never, there's no need to disclose until you're at the point of a meaningful relationship anyway, which is about time you sign the contract. I usually just put a real estate agent underneath my signature. Other than that, it's not an issue. The only issue is that when you do disclose, when you're mailing letters or whatever and advertising, it is going to reduce your response.
Okay. All right, our next question is from Connie in Utah. We previously set up an LLC in Utah where our real estate company is located. Should we use that LLC or deactivate it? Also, we are both members and managers, so I know that should be changed.
Well, Connie, you didn't tell me, you say you use it for real estate, but is that a real estate sales company, a licensed company, or a real estate investing company? Because I don't understand why you wouldn't use it. If it's set up for real estate investing, sure, use it. But be careful, I don't want two businesses running out of that same LLC. That would just complicate everything, so you'd get another one if that's the case. As far as manager members, you really only need one manager, and it doesn't matter how many members you have as long as it's more than one. From a protection point of view, you never want a solely owned LLC, but one manager is enough.
Okay. Edgar from Florida says, I have a nice 4-2 house that is currently rented, which I acquired through a traditional mortgage, and it is in my name. I have two questions regarding this house. Number one, in order to protect me, should I transfer it to a trust? I have currently an LLC open. Should I transfer it to a trust and make the LLC the beneficiary?
Yes.
Okay.
Before we go any further, that's exactly what I would do. Of course, you're going to get a lot of flack from that from people who don't understand the trust. But you got nothing to lose by doing it that way. You've got a lot to gain. Because if the property's in a trust, that trust is the only thing that's liable there. Well, that could go beyond that. I mean, like if you installed a tenant buyer and something crazy happened, big suit and so forth, they're probably going to get sued as well. But at least your LLC won't, because it's just a member of, or a beneficiary of the trust. I don't want you to deed it to the LLC like many attorneys will tell you to do, because that means everything in the LLC is at risk because it's the owner of the property, which is not true if the property only owns one trust and it's owned by the LLC. As far as asset protection, now remember, it's not a foolproof asset protection device. It just gives you privacy. If a predator finds out that you're the beneficial interest, they'll take that beneficial interest away from you unless you've got it properly structured. Just by putting in an LLC alone as a beneficiary, hopefully you got more than one member of the LLC, and that goes a long way right there. But a land trust by itself is not much asset protection. However, it does have other benefits, such as liens won't attach to a house you don't own, and you don't own a house that's in a trust. And it's easy to transfer a trust without anything changing at the courthouse. It's just an assignment of beneficial interest, and you're selling the trust. There's no cost. And it also helps in the case of death. People died, trusts don't die, so the beneficial interest of that trust won't have any probate issues if one of them dies.
Okay. Is there any issue transferring it to the trust if I still have a mortgage on the house?
None.
Okay.
Lender cannot do anything because you put it into a trust. Garn St. Germain Federal Depository Institution Act of 1982 prohibits it, and they know it. By the way, we're going to have a land trust expert at the convention. If you haven't registered for the summit yet, coming up at the end of March, go to RES 2020 and get it done, because we're going to pester you until you get registered. You might as well go ahead and do it. And besides, what a great event for you to come to, especially if you're brand new in this business. There's so much information there, so much information. And not only all the fun, all the networking people you're going to meet, all the stuff we're going to give away. It's just an incredible event. You owe it to yourself to be there. Plus, it's in Las Vegas. Where else would you want to be on March 31st in Las Vegas?
Okay, and the second question for Edgar's house is, should I keep renting it, or should I find a buyer that I could do a lease option and collect a decent option fee?
Edgar, I never straight rent a house. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. I'll never do another one. I put lease option tenant buyers in them, collect thousands of dollars of upfront deposit, usually collect more per month. And the good news is I pass all of the repairs on to the tenant buyer. Gosh, that alone will drive 20% to your bottom line and take away all the grief of managing. Management means collect check, make payment, you're done. That's all the management there is. And then if they move out, they forfeit their deposit and you do it all over again. So it's a golden goose, probably as long as you live, unless somebody actually goes and qualifies for a loan and buys it. Lease purchase it to a tenant buyer is the most profitable thing you can do with that house.
All right, and finally, our last question comes from Adam in California.
Adam?
He says, I know you teach not to use your own money or credit to buy houses. However, what would be an exception to this rule and a good use for using my own money or credit related to a real estate investment?
Okay, that's a good question. And it's almost correct. I teach never to use your credit, especially in the single family house business, because you don't have to. You can get all the houses you want. Don't ever walk into a bank to get a loan to buy a house. Ridiculous. I do use some money sometimes, and when I do use it, I use it for, well, in the ugly house business, I might pay cash for the property, thinking I'm going to rehab it, and turn it into more cash. I don't mind you writing a check as long as you get a bigger check back quickly. What I don't like you to do is write checks for down payments and so forth and just bury them in the house for years, because you're getting a zero rate of return. That house, if a house you buy with no check will produce just as much income as a house you buy with a check, but the rate of return is infinite if you don't invest money in it, and that's pretty hard to beat. Use your cash for things that'll generate more cash, or maybe for investments that have extremely high rate of return on. And then of course there's always the boats and the cars and the trips and all that stuff too. Great use of cash. But no, I use cash for rehabbing, buying houses, paying cash. Huge rate of return if I'm flipping them and cashing them out of them. But I don't use my credit. I have, that's why I'm telling you not to. And look, if you use your credit, use it for something that is worth the risk, which is probably commercial properties. And properly due diligence and know what you're getting into, or I wouldn't use my credit there either.
All right, that's all we have. Thank you, Ron.
That's it. Okay, guys, get in the summit and get to work. We're in 2020 now. Before you know it, it'll be the end of the year.